Imagine just for a second that you could get your hands on the ultimate biohacking manual. But here's the catch. It's not fresh out of some Silicon Valley lab. We're talking hundreds of years ago in ancient China. In this explainer, we're unpacking太上老Jun's holistic blueprint. It's this absolutely fascinating Taoist text that lays out a meticulous system for extending your life, curing illnesses, and really mastering your own mind. It's a brilliant, structured approach to human health, and honestly, it feels incredibly relevant to our crazy, fast-paced modern lives. Okay, let's dive into this. Consider the foundational metaphor that drives this entire ancient philosophy. One's body is the image of a nation. It's like a giant puzzle, where your spirit is the ruler, sitting right there on the throne. Your chest and abdomen, that's the palace. Your limbs act as the borders of your country. Your bones and joints are the government officials. And, this is key, your blood and your internal energy, what they call qi, those are your citizens. Think about it. If a ruler totally exhausts their citizens, the whole nation just collapses. In the exact same way, if you exhaust your energy, your body is going to break down. So, to prevent that collapse, this text gives us a beautifully logical four-part progression. First, we tackle the physical. Next, we move to the breath. Third is the mind. And finally, integration. We're kicking things off with part 1, the physical body, looking specifically at the 5 animal frolics. Look, before you can master your mind, you've got to master your physical vessel, right? This is what the ancients basically saw as early biohacking. It was designed to get you to release a light sweat, lube up the joints, and cure physical stagnation. I want you to literally visualize yourself stretching your own limbs as we go through these. First, the tiger. You're on all fours, pouncing forward and backward to really stretch the skin and limbs. Then, the bear. Laying back, holding your knees, and just dropping your weight side to side. The deer is all about looking back over your shoulder while stretching your legs to open up the spine. For the monkey, you're literally finding something to hang from and pulling your body weight up and down. And finally, the bird, standing on one foot, aggressively flapping your arms and lifting those toes. It's all about dynamic, full body tension and release. And the promised result of doing this daily animal routine, 900 years. Yeah, you heard that right. The text boldly claims that people who practice these specific movements consistently lived for over 900 years, keeping sharp ears, bright eyes, and perfectly strong teeth well into old age. Now, okay, we might take that number as a kind of massive exaggeration today, but the underlying point is absolutely crucial. Profound joint mobility and physical circulation are the rock-solid bedrock of longevity. Let's move to and see how this builds as we hit part 2, the breath and the 6 healing sounds. Once your physical body is unblocked through those animal movements, the blueprint shifts our focus inward. We're talking about the subtle control of respiratory energy. This is the fascinating ancient science of vocalized breathing, where they linked specific vocalizations directly to internal organ health. They literally believed that different sounds vibrated and healed specific parts of you. For instance, making a C sound targets the lungs and was used for a stuffed nose or a cold. The he sound, that targets the heart to cool down heat and dryness. Hu connects to the spleen to heal chopped lips. Zhu clears out the liver to cure red, irritated eyes. Chuli stimulates the kidneys. They even used it to treat deafness. And Shi targets the internal cavities, the triple burner, for general illness. They were basically using sound frequencies to massage their organs from the inside out. How cool is that? But the golden rule driving all of these sounds boils down to this core Taoist concept. Exhale the old, inhale the new. It's a process known as Tugu Na Xin. The idea is simple. Before you can absorb fresh, harmonizing life energy, you have to actively push out the stale, warm, corrupted air that's just sitting there in your lungs and organs. It's essentially an active process of internal spring cleaning. All right, moving right along, we elevate from the breath to part 3, the mind, and the actual practice of ruling the body nation. And this brilliantly illustrates where the text gets incredibly philosophical, but also, surprisingly, super practical for anyone today dealing with, digital burnout, constant notifications, or high-stress environments. It shows the central conflict of the mind. On one side, we have the 6 harms: seeking fame, lust, greed, craving rich flavors, indulging in flattery, and harboring jealousy. The text is basically shouting a warning. If you don't eliminate these 6 worldly desires, no amount of breathing or stretching is going to save you. You're literally pouring water into a bucket with a massive hole in it. The path of longevity means preserving your true nature by fiercely guarding your attention against all these external traps. To pull that off, the blueprint offers what it calls the 12 less. Just look at the sheer scope of mental discipline required here. Less thinking, less speaking, less joy, less anger, less pleasure, less sorrow. I mean, to our modern ears, this kind of sounds like they want you to be an emotionless robot, right? But actually, scratch that. Look closer. This is the ultimate ancient guide to digital detox and mindfulness. It's all about emotional regulation. It's teaching you not to let every single external event spike your dopamine or your cortisol. It is extreme energy conservation. So the crucial point is that mental exhaustion has severe, very tangible physical consequences. The ancients didn't separate the mind and the body. They believed excessive thinking literally injures your spirit. Excessive speaking physically depletes your energy reserves. And excessive anger, they said it makes your pores float, basically meaning it destabilizes your physical defenses and leaves you wide open to illness. When you overwork your mind, your body nation takes the physical hit. Which naturally brings us to the final and honestly most mysterious section, Part 4, Integration, Qi, Illness, and Dreams. This is where the physical body, the breath, and the mind all converge. It's a sophisticated diagnostic system that uses your qi, tracks illnesses, and uses, get this, your dreams. It all revolves around a profound philosophical concept called the profound female, or Xuan Pin. Now, practically speaking, this is referring to your mouth and nose. The text calls this the subtle root gateway of heaven and earth. When you're practicing your breathing, you aren't just taking in regular old oxygen. You are absorbing primal energy. You're drawing it down so it nourishes your internal organs exactly like a heavy rain falling on dry, parched earth. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how they measured if that energy was flowing correctly while you slept. They used this fascinating dream matrix. If you dreamt of red clothes, fire, or swords, boom, it meant your heart energy was imbalanced and you needed to use the hu and chui breaths to fix it. Dreaming of white clothes, your lungs were off, so you'd use the he breath. Green clothes or tigers meant a liver issue. Yellow things or whirlwinds meant a spleen issue. Black clothes meant a kidney issue. They were actually diagnosing their own nightmares and then curing them the very next morning with calculated, targeted breathing. That is just wild. So all of these tools, the animal frolics, the 6 healing sounds, the emotional discipline, the dream analysis, they all point straight back to this single profound sentence. Treat the body before illness strikes. Do not chase after it when it is already ruined. That's the whole ballgame. It is the absolute purest form of preventative medicine. You don't wait for your entire kingdom to burn down before you start acting like a ruler. And that wraps up our analysis.太上老Kun's holistic blueprint isn't just some dusty historical curiosity. It's a mirror held right up to our own frantic, modern lives. It forces us to look at our sleep, our breath, our screen time, and our stress. So I'm going to leave you with this final, provocative thought to take away. Look closely at the state of your energy. Look at your daily habits, and really ask yourself, how will you govern your own body nation today?